All right, let's see. Is the audio actually working? Hey, my audio is working. They can hear me, I'm sure. Good evening. Welcome to the Onyx Path Twitch channel. And I'm echoing, so let me fix the echo. That'll be better. Whoever we are the Haunted Chronicles group presenting the Wyrd West. This is chapter 3 this evening. Thank you for joining us. So in our last session, you all had fought the babyface spiders. But unfortunately, Emilio took the brunt of that, and he is presently unconscious and fairly well beaten up as you've been brought to the top of the mesa. And it was pointed out to you about Farmer Miller's cornfield, that it now has a design in it. Someone has messed around and messed with the crops and made 5 big circles with a line going through each one of them. But the 5th one's not really a circle. It's more of a semicircle, a bit of a sphere, kind of like a slice of the moon if it was beginning to wax. And you were being taken to greet Casa, the chieftain. You were led to a building that is made out of clay and sod, and it's got a nice structure to it. It's windows, and there's some smoke coming out through a chimney in the roof. And as you enter into it, it's a very large room. And a woman sits at the far end of the room, a little bit older than most of you, but she wears it well. The young man leading you in walks up to her, says a couple of words, turns around, nods to all of you, and will bring food and drink. Please be seated. And you can see there are rugs set around this fire pit. It has a low-stoked fire in it. It's enough to keep the cold, the chill of the evening off, but it's not too hot. Welcome. Please sit down.
Thank you, Chief Casa.
We'll take care of your friend. I'd like to know what happened. It's here he's pretty roughed up. We also have someone in trade. We believe he's one of your people, one of the ranchers. We found him wandering around early this morning.
Thank you for covering him.
And we were very surprised to find him. No water, no horse. On the desert side. And she points out westward.
Wouldn't happen to be Caleb McCarty, would it?
I believe it is, yes. He hasn't said much. He rambled a little bit, but then we gave him something to help him rest.
We're sorry to intrude on you all up here like this. I'll tell you what happened to Emilio, but first, we brought some gifts with us for you. Matter of fact, Buddy sent me with a particular blend of tobacco that he said that you'd be fond of.
Oh, good man, Buddy. Always seems to come up with the things you need when you need it most.
Now, as for Mr. Emilio, we ran into spiders. That's not exactly the right thing to call them. I don't know what to call them. Spiders had faces on them, faces like babies, I guess is the best way I could explain it. And well, there's about 3 of them, and one of them, I guess, had babies. If
Oh,
not for the help of one of your hunters, I don't know what would have happened.
oh, that was Kaita, I believe. He was headed into town to let you know that we had your friend Caleb, I believe you said.
Yes.
I didn't realize he was a McCarty. We haven't had much to do with them since the father died. We used to we used to purchase a lot of meat from them and bring them a few things.
We headed up this way to see if maybe any of your folks had seen anything. There's been some attacks. That's the only way I could explain it. Cows with holes clean through them, uh, cut right through the bones, the meat, the organs, everything. Left the cattle behind.
I assume you are not blaming any of my people for this.
No, never, never. I come to you to ask because I know that your folks are very observant, from what I've come to understand, and you have such a good seat up here. I thought that maybe somebody might have seen something or heard something.
She raises her hand and beckons in, and several people come in bringing food and drink, and they hand a little bit to everyone. Please, don't wait on me. Eat. Several different types of meat. Smells a little bit of venison, a lot of cow, a little bit cactus here and there. Some other things. Some corn as well. Oh,
Thank you, but I'll eat when I know Mr. Flores is all right.
he's going to be fine. He just needs rest. I say he stays with us for, I don't know, a week. I'm sure he'll be back to his old self.
An entire week.
He's taken a lot of injury. Those
Well,
kind of wounds take time to heal.
I'll just have to stay here with him. Someone's got to look after him.
Well, you're welcome to stay here with him, but I've already told you we'll look after him. He'll be well cared for. Always.
Oh, well, I trust you, of course, but he has delicate sensibilities. I need to stay with him.
Jack's going to speak up at this point, and Minnie, if you're not back at the saloon, who's going to take care of Violetta? I mean, I guess I can put her in my charge if you want, and I'll keep an eye on her.
That's quite all right. She can stay here with me as well. I'm
Well, I think
perfectly
you're
capable.
imposing a lot on these good people without asking them if it's all right.
I can certainly pay them for their time and their hospitality.
Casa
I
laughs
can
a little
also
bit.
work. Just because I wear a dress doesn't mean I can't do anything.
I didn't think you wore the dress when you worked, sweetheart.
I also didn't ask you, darling.
At this point, Tocho brings in Caleb. Caleb looks a little bit dazed, but he's had a rough few hours there.
What are you all doing here?
Give my saying so, Mr. McCarty, but suppose I might ask you the same thing.
I wouldn't have an answer for you. Last thing I remember is riding home last night and... No, never mind. Probably
Well,
just heat stroke.
You should at least tell us what you remember.
I... Something about... Feels like I saw my paw. Pa's been dead over a year now. Like I said, must have just been heat stroke. I can't tell you how I ended up here. Where's Big Bill?
Well, I made sure that Mr. Talent here actually made sure that Big Bill made it back. I also got your gun, and I'll
The
hold
gun?
up the stock. Barrel is well, it was missing. Can't say that I've ever seen anything like it.
What in the Sam Hill? I trust this ain't some kind of joke, Marshal.
No, sir, I can assure you it is not. Matter of fact, have a few questions about what exactly happened. Say you heard your paw. You didn't wander off the trail any, did you?
I couldn't tell you. Like I said, last thing I remember is riding home. I don't remember Paul too well, neither. Just, you said you found my gun there? Cut off at the barrel?
Yes,
Like
sir, I
this?
did. And I'll
And I don't even know what could have done this. It's clean.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. Put me in mind of those cows. And that's not the only thing that we're cut in half there either. There's a cactus. Looked just like a circle went through it. Everything in the circle was dried up and dead, and well, even the sand looked like it was burned. I don't know how you do that.
What do you
Everybody
mean the
knows
sand was
turned to
burnt?
glass. Well, it was burnt. That's the only way I could call it. It might have been the
Even-
brush on top, I guess, but
It even smelled burnt.
Marshal, what exactly are we dealing with here?
well, that's what I'm fixing to get to the bottom of.
I'm afraid I don't know. Look, I read a lot in the Bible about angels and demons, and I'm afraid we might be getting mixed up in something out of this world.
Well, sometimes, Mr. Cardy, if you don't mind my saying, the only difference between an angel or a demon and a man is the actions they take. I am not going to rule out just yet this couldn't be somebody causing trouble. But once you get a little bit more settled down, there's something I got to show you.
Something else more than this gun?
Well, like I said, we can deal with that after you eat and you sit down a while.
All right, I get the feeling I'm not going to like this.
And thank you again, Chief Casa, so much for taking care of our man here.
Of course, Chief. Thank you.
Very welcome. Your family's been good to us. We're friends.
I owe you. I'll give you a good cut of meat next
Thank you.
time.
Appreciate it.
Next time.
Jack's going to straighten up a little bit, and this is a beautiful village that you've got here. And he reaches his hand over to a piece of wood that's sitting near him, and he goes to tap his hand on it, and Tocho reaches forward and grabs his hand. Don't knock my village. Meant no harm, no foul. My apologies. Chief, this marshal here asked if you'd seen anything. And I'm going to ask if you've seen any strangers make their way through as well. She turns and looks at him. Aside from you? Yeah, we've seen a couple. Most of them prospectors. Down near the old mine. There's been a few extra stars in the sky. Some of them move. We got a few of the old spirits that have been dancing out in the field down there. Points again out to the west.
Spirits.
The ancestors.
Of course.
Don't knock it if you don't believe it. Don't knock it if you haven't tried it.
Ain't
We've been here
knocking.
far longer than your people have.
Pardon my asking, but you said there were extra stars and they were moving.
Yes. For, I don't know, since the last new moon? Yeah, so. Wow. My background just disappeared.
Can't quite place it. Lady Amethyst, I seem to recall something about stars moving, but
I saw
yeah.
something about that. So did Mr. Flores. Where is he, by the way?
Well, he's in a spot of trouble. Oh, sorry. You ought to tell him.
Well, he got hurt. See, we were attacked by these spider things with too many faces.
I don't know what that means, Miss Morrow. Spider things.
Am I wrong in my description, Mr. Wells?
No, I wouldn't say so, but I think Lady Amethyst was the one who got closest to grips with them. Maybe you might have a better way of putting it.
For the spiders? You mean?
Yeah, as for them.
Like tarantulas or something?
Well, they were what you would think a spider would look like for the most part. They had the 8 legs. They were pretty big. I mean, I don't know, 2 feet high, almost.
I'm sorry, 2 feet high? Did you say that right?
Oh, yes, sir. Yes. I'd say about 2 feet high, 2 feet, maybe even bigger around. And they had, I mean, I've seen a spider myself, and I'm sure you've seen a spider, Mr. Caleb. You living on the ranch. But
never seen one that was 2 feet high.
Well, yes, but it gets worse actually. No, I mean, I wouldn't mind a spider that big. I think it kind of be, interesting or cute, maybe even like a little puppy, I guess, at that height. But the problem, sir, is that where you'd expect 8 different eyes to be, like on the typical arachnid, there's 8 faces. And they almost look like dolls, sir, which I know is kind of hard to believe and understand, but they look like doll faces, almost like little baby faces. And I stomped on one, and it was rather disturbing, to be honest. I didn't like doing it, but it was, I had to just kind of think about how it was a spider, not a little baby face. But
I feel compelled to confirm again. This ain't some kind of joke.
No, sir. Not a joke, and no one was under the influence as far as I'm aware. I mean, I guess I can't talk for everybody, but I know I wasn't. I'm being completely honest with you, sir. I swear it.
Violetta's going to reach inside of her coveralls and pull out a clump of webbing and set it in your lap, Caleb. That's their web.
Yes, we saw the web first, and Mr. Emilio, well, he went and wanted to investigate it, and I just kind of stuck my nose right up in it because I figured, that's the best way to learn. And they came and ambushed us. There were about, I think there were 3, and then one of them had a bunch of babies. It's quite a frightful scene. I tried to lasso them as best as I could, but it's not quite the same as lassoing cattle, so it was a bit difficult. But we all got off okay, aside from, well, Emilio's not the best, but he's not dead, so that's pretty good, I think. All things considered.
That sounds straight out of hell.
No joke. we wouldn't lie about this.
No, I suppose you wouldn't.
I mean, it does seem a little hellish, huh? Have
It
we
sure
done
does.
anything wrong as a town? Is this some kind of curse?
Also
Caleb
kinds
looks
of, kinds of
directly.
laughs a little bit when you say that.
Caleb looks directly at Minnie when he hears about the question of whether something's been done wrong in the town.
Do you have something to say, Mr. McCarty?
I don't believe I need to.
I don't think it's wise that you do.
Well, before we start getting into all that, uh, folks here have been so kind as to bring us a beautiful meal. Let's not spoil that atmosphere, if you
Oh.
don't mind.
Yes, of course. I'm
Of
just
course, Marshall.
happy to have you, Caleb. Nice to see you again.
It's nice to see you too.
She also works in the inn, so the next time you think about bad mouthing, apologies, Mr. Wells.
It's okay. I know what Caleb thinks of me, and that's his choice.
Oh, Chief.
I'm grateful for the meal.
Chief, I apologize. Jack Beauregard, talent. I know. I brought some things that belong to you that, well, the agency that I work with collected. And he takes the 2 saddlebags and hands them over to her. Are these what I think they are, Mr. Beauregard? Probably, and please forgive, ma'am.
Violetta, darling, why don't you come sit with us? Come sit right here beside me.
Okay, but I have the book to give her. But Papa wanted me to give her a book.
That's all right.
Should I do that
Give her
now?
that,
Or?
and then come sit with me.
She walks over and takes out a book from the saddlebag and hands it to her. And Asa looks down in it and, well, thank you, sweetie. That's very generous of you. We don't believe in fiction. It's a nice read. And she sets it off on the side.
In the chocolate prowler.
She hands her the chocolate. Oh, chocolate. That is wonderful.
It might be a little melted. It took a bit longer to get here than we thought, but I hope you still enjoy the sweet
Have you ever
taste.
tried taking the melted chocolate and putting it in some water? Hot water? Oh,
No.
She beckons them to bring some hot water and some glasses.
Oh, I'd be happy to, though. Thank you for sharing this with me.
A little bit of agave juice to kind of thicken it up a little bit. She makes you a desert chocolate.
Wow. Lady Amethyst loves it. She'll drink it all very quickly.
Violetta, darling, come sit with Minnie.
We do appreciate the book, young one, so please don't think we took any offense at it. And we will keep it. Tocho can keep it in his library. Tocho goes, not funny.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Tojo, I did not know you were that sort of man.
He just looks around for a moment and then gets up and walks out.
Oh, pardon me, Miss Casa. I hope I did not offend.
No, he had a vision quest. He swears it was real, but we sure he spent a little too much time in the lodge. And he swears he went into a house, and he was in this house for 2 days, and it's full of books all the way around. And he went inside, and the house was bigger once he went in than when he left. And he took a couple of books to prove it, but I'm afraid he probably found some books or traded something with the prospectors. But we try to believe what people have on their journeys, but I think he's trying to look at it as too physical and not spiritual, and taking a message from it about learning and knowledge. Anyway, where were we? We were talking about the dancing lights and the ancestors, and you mentioned the spiders, and I've got to ask, you'd said baby faces, and then you said faces like dolls.
But one of the same, I'd suppose.
Is it perchance they could have been older faces with innocence? Clean shaven, no guilt, no wrinkles.
Can I roll for that, or can I just recall? I have eidetic memory, so I get.
It's up to you, and this is an you would remember. This is an impression your person would have of it. If you want to roll for it, I'm more than happy to have you do that. Just an intellect, academics, and you said you have eidetic memory, so if you've got any, you can add a bonus for that if you want to.
Let me look at what that does. Let me double check. Eidetic memory means I get +2 for intelligence, composure, details rolls.
Yep. Awesome.
I will do that. Intelligence.
Yeah, use intelligence, composure, and add +2 to that. That sounds like a really good mix. I like it.
Great. And composure. 2 more. One success. Just the one.
As you think back on these, you do remember that the faces, you were looking at them as spiders and you were thinking babies, but as you looked at this and you realized that the one was a mother, you realized that it really wasn't necessarily youth and baby. I mean, you do know that some animals, use trickery, but this didn't seem like it was something meant to attract anyone in. So yeah, maybe that could fit.
And this is Casa asking, right?
Yes.
Yes. Well, ma'am, now that you put it that way, I suppose it was a variety of faces of some kind of innocent purity type. Is that fitting of some kind of tale that you know of, or spiritual being?
No, we don't talk about our beliefs and our ancestors much because people like Mr. McCarty here tend to scoff a bit. But if you've seen them,
I promise.
Now, I ain't intending to scoff. It's not what I was raised to believe, but then again, last night, I may have seen my father as far as I know.
I've seen some interesting stuff before, so I'll take anything you say, and just kind of run with it. To be honest, I'm respectful. I promise.
well,
It's nice to hear what other people believe in.
We talk to our ancestors regularly, Mr. McCarty. You may have heard the drums, seen the flames in the night sky. We have a lodge set up that we purify with smoke and music and dance, and we talk to our ancestors, and we receive guidance from them. But in answer to your question, those sound very similar to a creature that has been foretold and from the past that has to do with the end of this world as we move on into the fifth world. It's basically harbinger of the end of times.
Are there any other signs of the end times that we should keep an eye out for?
And she stands up and beckons all of you to follow her. She walks around. And as the sun's going down, you get this view across Miller's land. And she points to the circle farthest to the west. And there was the first world, which was the beginning of creation. And it was ruined. And so they climbed up into the kiva of the second world and came out. And the animals were added. And it was good for a while. But then the people needed a new space, a new place. We needed to expand into more. So we climbed up through the kiva into the third world. And she points at each of the circles as we go. And here we are in the fourth world. But you see the unfinished circle on the end. The people will ascend into the fifth world, and the rest of your world and your things will be destroyed.
And by the people, you mean the believers of your spirits will be the ones who ascend, and everyone else is left behind?
Those who are considered worthy and rightful and respectful, they're invited to go through. But the hurtful and hateful, they're not. Much like the great chief's ghost dance. It's a purification to try to peacefully remove the evil.
Wait, well, what do we do to prepare?
Well, I believe your Bible says, Mr. McCarty, isn't it? Get right with the Lord.
Something like that, yes.
How long do we have? I mean, is this something that's immediate or takes years? Violetta's a child.
Well, I was told this by my grandmother, who was told this tale by her grandmother when she was young. So it's been told for quite a long time. But it's not our timing. And if the ancestors know, well, it's not good to tell us, because if you know the end is coming, would you work every day?
I would tell people things that I needed to say.
Shouldn't you
And
do
maybe
that anyway?
That's not right for a lady.
This is a problem we have with your pale-skinned people. They say one thing and mean another, and they don't say what they truly mean. They come and write things on paper and say, oh, we will do this and this and this, and then they come back later and say, no, 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 you have to go here.
Those are
And I
not
don't blame the people of the village. Don't. It's more the Great Father and your Washington. He won't come and sit and speak with the chiefs. He sends someone else to take back our marks on the paper to him, as if he's taken a piece of our soul with him. Maybe that's why the agreements don't work, because we aren't willing to put our soul on a piece of paper for another man to own.
probably smart of you, actually. I don't trust anyone that high up that thinks they can rule for everyone like they know what's best for everybody. Better for everyone is not always better for everyone. Someone's always unhappy.
And this is why we need a new world.
But to destroy a whole world doesn't make no sense.
Isn't every cycle of the moon creation and destruction? Every crop in the field. The crops grow, they're harvested, they're ate. The plants rot, new plants grow. Water flows down from the mountain, cleans out the streams. Fish grow, fish die. New fish grow. It's not until we interfere and, well, all the buffalo are killed. And then the cycle's broken. And then what do you have for a world? The world's broken. Maybe it's time to make a new one. and we can learn from the mistakes and leave those who make the mistakes. They don't belong in the new world.
Given me saying so, Chief, on account of the fact that I'm not so familiar with prophecy and that type of thing, but I was always raised to believe that if something was broken, you set about fixing it. You don't abandon it and buy something new. So I have to ask, did they say anything about what might be done to repair things? Because if this is truly something coming to make a reckoning of things, I figure we ought to do what we can.
Marshall, when you have a wagon and that wagon hits a stone and that wheel is broken, do you not take the wheel apart and make a new wheel? You may use pieces of the old, but it's not the same wheel.
Your horse breaks a leg. Sometimes you just got to put down the horse.
Put down the horse and honor it with a great meal. No reason to let it waste.
Maybe I'm not quite certain that the world's got a broke leg just yet. Maybe I want to see about mending it up before we all decide that it is.
There's still good left. Doesn't mean scrap it and start over.
I think my pressing concern is until this ascending happens, our cows are being hold. So what do we? I mean, how do we get on until we can move on? Because right now our way of life's pretty disrupted already.
Trust me, we understand about a disrupted way of life. Protect your own. That's what we've done. Be thankful for what you have. Don't let the army near it. Why do you think we live on the mesa? Because it's hard to get up here.
Yes, ma'am. Well, harder now account of the doll spiders.
That's new. We'd heard some noises coming from the old mine, and a couple of the prospectors, the new ones who'd come through, went that way, and they were told to leave the mine alone because there were things in the darkness that should be left to rest and spirits that should lie. I don't know that they've messed with it. We tend not to go near that ground.
So we're thinking that whatever was in the mines is coming out.
Spiders tend to live in dark places, and if they're this big, I think they need a large dark place. Just
So
a
we
guess.
destroy the mines.
That doesn't explain the circles in the crop field. Of course, we believe that
Or
our
the cows.
ancestors danced and made the shapes, but I'm sure you have an explanation that it's more the material world.
I don't think the material world can cover everything that's been happening lately. The end times. Who knows?
Surely not. We have a child standing here. Let's not tell her the world is ending.
Well, she's quite pure, so I think it'll be okay because she'll go on to the next one.
Amethyst.
But I don't want to go without my papa.
Exactly. Honey, you're not going anywhere without your papa.
Your papa is a patron of academia, and I think that is noble and fair. I mean, I am no god or spirit. I don't ever want to play judgment, but I mean, I judge that they are lovely people. I think all of you are lovely people, actually. I think we'll be okay.
Well, if there's a god that would reject Mr. Flores, then that god's not very fair.
Might want to watch what you say about God.
Shut up, Caleb.
Chief Casa, we've imposed on you a good deal today, and it seems we may be inclined to do so a little bit longer. Is there anything that we can do for your people? Anything we can bring? Anything at all?
Well, we always can use meat, and I assume there's a lot of corn that's going to go to waste in the field. We'd be happy to have it if no one else does. And we're happy to have you as guests. You're not welcome all the time, but you are welcome now. And we have set aside a space for you. I definitely would not let you leave this evening, unless you insisted, of course, with giant spiders making the rounds. But no, I'd say stay with us this evening. We have celebrations that come with this quarter of the moon.
We're very grateful.
Yes, if the spiders end up being a problem, you'd of course be welcome to come down to the inn as well. I mean, as you do for us, we will do for you.
I think you
We
have
wouldn't
more
trust
worries
you.
with the spiders being on the level of the inn than we do up here.
Oh, well, yes. Well, if some kind of mesa beast shows up as part of the end times, you are welcome down there. We'll figure it out when we get there, I suppose.
Come back
Chief
to the
Casa.
longhouse. Yes, Marshal.
Well, you folk have some feelings about the mine and what is therein. Do you think if we were to seal the entrance to that mine that it would disturb anything?
How do you propose to seal it? I believe it was boarded over.
Well, I'm inclined to believe that those boards are not doing well enough.
Dynamite's
But
one way.
yes, sir, Mr. Caleb. I do believe that is my intention.
So I want to make sure I understand this. In order to improve the situation, you'd like to destroy something with dynamite.
Well,
You would like to
I
destroy a
suppose.
portion of the earth for your own safety and to make an improvement on life.
Well, I suppose when it's laid out like that, it doesn't sound so good, does it?
Oh, I'm not passing judgment. I'm just making a point that to answer the young lady's question, sometimes you do have to destroy things to create new and move on to the new thing.
And I suppose what I'm asking is for a little bit of your wisdom on the situation. Is this one of those types of things where clearing away a path for the new is a better idea?
I would say whatever lives deep in the mines, well, it wasn't my people that woke it. So therefore, I don't think it's my people who can solve it. But if something wishes to come out of that mine, I think it will. But do what you feel you must. And frankly, I'd rest better knowing that there wasn't dynamite just laying around that somebody could stumble across. I've seen that. I've seen someone drop a stick of that and vanish into a cloud of red. And I'd really hate to have that happen to anyone.
I'm still just trying to figure it out. I mean, we've got moving stars. Do we think all this is coming from the darkest cracks of the earth or from the night sky above us?
Well, I can't speak to all of it, Mr. Caleb. But if those spiders are coming out of that mine, I don't want them anywhere near our town. And you'll forgive me for saying that it's mine too, but I've stayed there long enough and I'm fond enough of you folk that I think I can say that.
Wells, it's every bit as much your town as any of us.
Sure, I
We're part
respect
of
you,
it, too.
Marshal.
I guess I'm focused on the thing that I have right in front of me. if there is something to do with the stars flying around, men in diving suits on unicorns, I don't know how to set about them, but I do know how to seal up a mine.
Pardon me, Marshal. What's this unicorn that you speak of? That's a new word to me.
Oh, uh, just something a kid was telling me. I had a pretty horse with a horn on its head, you know?
Interesting. And a diving suit.
Yeah, I was a little perplexed about that one too. Guess it's some kind of big metal contraption with glass panes, and well, I guess I don't really understand it myself.
Ridiculous. I never seen such a thing.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. But then there's stars flying around in the skies and spiders coming up out of mines, so
She
Where's anybody
turns-
going to dive around here?
yeah, that's the question, isn't it?
Casa turns to one of the other people of the village who'd been walking along and says something to her. And she hurries off. And then comes back a few minutes later. And she has some skins that apparently someone's been drawing on. Probably a child from the texture and size and the way it's made. But it's easy to make out. One of the figures on it is a horse with a horn on its head.
What is Sam?
Standing behind it is the shape of a man, but it's not proportional. Like he's got a big round head and rounded arms and very large gloved hands. Something that looks bigger than normal fingers. Is this your unicorn? We weren't sure what to call it. We were going with the horny horse.
I believe that is. If you don't mind my asking, who was it that drew this, and where did they see it?
No, one of the children was watching out the other day and saw it in the distance out in the field. Down by one of the other family's farms. I don't remember the name.
It just about lines up.
Now, Marshall, you said that unicorn you heard about, that was seen by a child too, right?
Yeah, it sure was. Two children seen the same thing.
Children are still willing to see things that our grown up minds refuse to. We tend to shut these things out. More focused on our next meal or the pretty young man or woman across from us. That's where our minds tend to go.
I don't suppose you might speak to the boy on our behalf.
What would you like to know?
Well, I'd like to know if he'd seen where it went. Boy I spoke with didn't see it go anywhere, but you folks have a much better vantage.
Well, I'll pass on to his mother, and it will be her choice.
I respect that, and I appreciate it. Thank you.
And the young woman that brought the thing. Oh, they said that you're welcome to keep this if you'd like.
That's very kind. I'll take that, and let's see.
He likes that scarf you wear around your neck.
Oh, that'll do just fine here.
Oh, thank you. We'll make sure he gets it. It's a good trade. That's a fine skin.
I apologize. It's a little bit warm. You may want to wash it.
Take it from you. Thank you so much.
No, thank you.
At this point, the sun has disappeared over the horizon. The moon, halfway through phase, comes up over the distance.
I believe you mentioned some festivities, and I hope we're not keeping you away.
You're welcome to participate in some of them, but I will ask you to remain in the house for parts that we consider sacred to our people, and maybe when we get to know you a little better and determine if you're fifth world worthy.
We
Violetta,
thank you for inviting us to any of it.
Violetta, you are welcome to go and watch if you would like. Come. She escorts you back to the house.
I'd like to dance. Are there dances?
I'll have to think about this for a moment, and I'm going to shoot my camera because it keeps changing my background. Getting a little irritated here tonight. What is it tonight? Have I upset? I may have angered my ancestors, to which I do apologize, and I am not joking. But this normally doesn't happen. This is weird. So she thinks about it for a moment, and you can go up on the roof and watch from there.
Oh, I'd like that very much. Could anyone else watch? I mean,
you're all welcome to go up and watch from a distance. Do not interrupt.
I'll make sure everybody stays quiet. I'll lasso them.
Right. So she will show you the way up onto the roof, and she is going to go out to participate in things. Is Violetta going with her? I'm going to leave that up to Minnie, who is her main watch over at this point.
Guardian. Yeah.
Violetta goes nowhere without Minnie, so if she's going, Minnie's going with her.
You're not invited.
We could watch though. We can watch from a distance.
Violetta, darling, why don't you just sit up here with Minnie and watch? Maybe next time.
Miss Minnie,
We don't
if
want to
you
intrude.
you don't mind my intruding, Miss Minnie. I don't mean to tell you how you do things or how to take care of a child. All I mean to tell you is, if these folks open up anything to you, it would be, in my opinion, a little bit disrespectful if you were to turn away. She has been given an opportunity that very few of us will ever see. Now, again, I'm not telling you how to manage Miss Violetta, but that's just what I believe.
I don't want to insult them. Violetta, do you want to go?
I hate it when I do that. I'd like to. And then Jack says, Miss Morrow, I think this is about the safest place she's going to be.
Yes, she'll be participating in something special and sacred. She'll have the whole people around her, and we'll be watching. I mean, if anything dire were to happen, we'll intervene.
Well, I don't want to stop her from doing something she might want to do. Just stay very close to Chief Casa, all right? And stay in my line of sight. Fair enough?
Yes, ma'am.
I'll pull her aside. Just stay with the chief and don't go anywhere with Mr. Talent without coming to me first. Is that understood?
I can hear you, you know.
shut up. Do you understand? Your pa will be mad at both of us.
She's looking at you, and she's kind of looking over and back and forth at Mr. Talent. And yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
I'll fix her hair and straighten her shirt up. Now that's a fair compromise. You go and enjoy yourself.
Yes, ma'am.
You go nowhere with Mr. Talent without coming to me first. And you have
Costa's gonna look over. We'll make sure that she keeps her fun in moderation and doesn't enjoy herself too quickly.
She can have as much fun as she wants. I hope that was a joke. Yeah. Chief? Your Highness? What? I don't know what I'm supposed to call you. I apologize.
Casa.
Casa.
And they will walk over towards the stairs. And as they walk away, you hear them going back and forth as Violetta says, well, what is it about the book you don't like? Oh, he had a great many things in there, but he was somewhat deluded about the nature of the way things really work. But if you look at what he's talking about, he's really talking about the falls of the fourth world. And as they go down the stairs.
For what it's worth, Mr. Talon, I appreciate you taking care of my horse.
Oh, very welcome. I wasn't going to leave that poor animal stranded out there, and you seem like a decent man. And this is a good village. As he reaches his hand over and starts to...
What is he doing?
He was reaching over to knock on the side of a piece of wood and stopped.
Mr. Caleb's the most decent of us all, I think. He's quite an upstanding man.
I appreciate that you think so, miss.
One of the Hollets thinks that of you, Mr. McCarty. Bear that in mind.
Listen, Miss Morrow. I'm not raising a stink over it. You're the one turning this into an argument. Is that what you want? You want to make an argument out of this?
I've had enough of your insulting.
What did I say?
Saying so. Sorry about that, Mr. Caleb.
It's fine, Marshal. Go ahead.
All I was going to say is Mr. Caleb may have had some words in the past, but he has been very polite since he has showed up here on this mesa. I ask that both of you manage the peace between you, at least for a moment. Now, we're in front of some folks that have invited us into their home, and I will not have anybody disrupting that.
You're perfectly right, Mr. Wells.
I can respect that.
Well, we have to get to the roof, or else we're gonna miss it. I want to make sure I see everything. It is very interesting, especially if we're in some kind of end times. I'm sure this is very meaningful.
Absolutely, Miss Amethyst. I think you've got the right head about you. Why don't you lead the way?
Oh, yes, of course.
You're a God-fearing man. You're a God-fearing man, Marshal. What do you think about this end times business?
Mr. McCarty, I believe that no man can predict the end of days. I think it's written somewhere in there that something like that is true. Now, what I believe is something is vitally wrong hereabouts. I don't know what it is, but I'm aiming to get to the bottom of it. And sure, it might not be just that mine, but we're going to do what we can.
Fair enough.
The drums start downstairs. You can hear them in the distance. The fires begin to stoke up. You see some young women walking around with bundles of sage that are lit. And as they walk, They push it up into their face and then out and away, and they inhale and then breathe out. And they do this circling the entire area. They walk up to Casa. Casa leans in and covers herself in the smoke and shows Violetta how to do the same. This continues around for everybody who is present at the ceremony. Smell of burning sage wafts up in the air to where you're at. Some dancers come out, mostly children at this point, and they're just circling the fire, dancing to the beat of the drums. And then all stops. Casa walks out to the center and begins to speak in a language you don't know. And everyone is quiet while she speaks. After a few minutes, she turns, and our guests who sit high on the rooftop, we welcome them as well, and ask the ancestors watch over them this evening. Then you see some people emerge from a building on the opposite side of the fire. Huge plumes of feathers surrounding them. One of them has an enormous dome-shaped helmet almost on. It's painted green and yellow with two big eyes and what appear to be wings, and then a tail spread out to the back. And they are wearing a long flowing dress of feathers that dusts the ground as they walk. And they walk with a slight skip to their step, along to the beat of the drum, a slow boom, boom, boom that has continued ongoing. The next follows out, another large head, this one with a triangle and a line underneath it, painted in black on a green field, large fans to either side, wrapped in a white cloak with triangles drawn on the sides. A tall, almost too tall for a person, with a very slender build, and the way the dress is cut, it would look like they've had legs that were maybe 2 feet long at the most, and then the rest of the body is slender and goes up for 5 feet to this white head with red ears and a plume on the top and small black eyes and a mouth drawn across. These and other figures emerge in a pattern and begin to make a circle around the fire as they dance. And they turn as they dance, and they have rawhide rattles in their hand that they shake. And the music begins to form as they dance, and with the pattern of every movement they make. The drums are the steady rhythm, and their feet make the melody. And as they shake the rattles, it makes a harmony that goes with it. And then the people begin to sing. It's a tongue you don't know, but still the words are calming. You get to focus in on there's that. I recognize that figure's a wolf. That's an eagle. And a cow. Very stylized. Larger than life. And this dance goes on for an hour. And then 2 hours. And you can imagine how tired the people must be with the energy that they put into this dance. But they continue and they circle and they dance well into the night. Eventually, Tocho comes upstairs. sits down next to the marshal. I did see this place.
I believe you.
It seemed the further you went into it, the larger it got. In any direction you walked, it would expand, and it was filled with books. So I took 2 books off the shelf to keep, to prove that I was there, that it wasn't just some dream vision.
Those books, did they say anything?
To be honest, I don't even remember what books they were. Casa has them somewhere now. One of them was by... I can't remember his name, but it was about someone named Kid. Billy. Billy the Kid. I believe that was the name that was on it. And the other had words I don't know how to pronounce. And he will try to make the letters for it, but obviously it's not his native language. And if you want to attempt to try and figure out, any of you, what he is writing, that's going to take a wits and enigmas to figure out what the symbols mean. I don't know who else rolling, so I'm just waiting to see results. All right. Wow. Oh, I'm sorry, these words don't mean anything to you.
Oh, no. Thank you for going through the time of it.
I figured it was a book of lies with this word that looks like treaties. I know that word, of course. But it's misspelled. The S and the E, don't they go the other way?
I honestly don't know. Sorry.
No. Sorry I couldn't be of more help.
Oh, no. You've been...
Mr. Flores. Sorry, Mr. Wells.
No, please. Just, you've been plenty of help.
He would be the one to ask. He's good with all the books and things. Even Violetta seems to understand books pretty well. One of the 2 of them would be good to ask.
Well, I was here to ask you to come inside, as the rest of the ceremony this evening is private. And I will go get Violetta, because it's late and probably time for her to rest as well. Do you wish her to rest here or with her father? It's probably best if her father sleeps alone. He's in a lot of pain, and he moans.
Just bring it to me. I'll look after.
Very good. So
I wish for the best.
he'll escort you all downstairs, and they have brought in bedrolls for you. So places to make, and some skins to sleep under if you're cold. The fire's been stoked up a little bit. There's more food sitting off to the sides, berries, things like that. And Tocho returns in a little bit with Violetta. And she's kind of shaking her head. And she says goodnight, and Tocho draws the leather across the doorway as he leaves.
Or Tocho leaves.
Yes.
Uh, Mr. Tocho, I don't know if you're much for tobacco, but this jar is for you.
Oh, thank you.
I know we've already imposed a lot, but what do you make of all these happenings?
I believe that it may be the end times. I normally am not much for some of these beliefs, but seen strange things. And as the white soldiers have ruined our way of life here, what good is this world? You know, our myths talk of the great white one who is supposed to come and be, well, take us to the fifth world. I have yet to meet, and I mean no offense, a great white one among your people.
I suppose that would be true. And I know that you and your people will be well prepared in that case. So I wish you well. And I hope you'll have a good evening.
And I thank you for the tobacco and wish you a good life and a happy death.
Thank you for taking care of me when you found me lost in the desert.
Thank you for providing food and treating us fairly.
I'll do my best to continue doing so.
We respect that, and thank you. He will close the leather. Violet is still shaking her head. She sits down at the table and starts to chew on things.
Are you all right, dear?
He put out the title of this book, but it doesn't make sense to me, and I'd like to ask Papa, but they said he's asleep.
Yes, he's still not feeling too well.
I have no idea what particle physics would mean.
I can't say that I've
Sounds
ever heard.
made up. Like something out of a Verne novel.
Sure does.
If anyone would know, it would be your pa. So
Hmm.
you hold on to that name, and as soon as he wakes up, we'll ask him.
Oh, I think I've had a lot for this evening. I think I'm going to lay down.
Yeah, of course, dear. Come with me, and I'll tuck you in.
Jack,
And
meanwhile,
I'll
is
take her wherever.
sitting in a corner. Jack's sitting in a corner and just rolling cards around on his fingers.
Mr. Talent. Good night.
Good night, Miss Morrow. I hope you sleep well.
Thank you. You as well. Then I'll take her off to and tuck her in wherever it is we're sleeping.
All right.
For behold, I create new heavens and a new earth, and the former shall not be remembered nor come into mind. Isaiah 65:17. End times.
Seems there may be something in common after all. I mean, don't the Revelations talk about the end of things? And
Yeah, they do.
maybe the great white one is Jesus coming back and walking the earth.
This thought crossed my mind.
Well, I suppose then we'll be waiting and listening for the trumpeting of angels. Isn't that right?
Yeah, a few other less pleasant things.
Yeah, well, I seem to recall that the good folks weren't meant to stay around for that type of thing, so
Depends who you ask.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
I
suppose
think
that's fair.
I think we're good. Don't we get 7 trumpets? Well, got to watch out for them 4 horsemen as well.
Hope none of them rode unicorns.
Now, wouldn't that be a sight?
Mr. Talent, I do not suppose your talents extend to the use and procurement of dynamite.
Well, I admit I'm not very skilled with it, but I do have some talents that go beyond just the cards. Do you all have any dynamite?
Well, that was why I was asking about the procurement of it. There's a few places I might check, but
Well, you do have the army outpost, 60 miles to the southeast, but I think they would want a little bit more detail before you get said dynamite, and they might not appreciate you bringing it back up here to, as they refer to them, the Savage Nation.
Think any of those prospectors still got any?
I'd imagine they might.
Well, how quickly did they board up the mine? Probably left some down inside somewhere if you're willing to go after it.
Keep that in mind, but I'd rather not go delving into that if we can avoid it. Well, tell you what, I think the best thing doing right now is to get some rest, and we're going to have a long day ahead of us. Probably a long few weeks.
I just hope it won't be our last.
Oh, sir, I don't believe it will be, not if we have anything to say about it.
Yep. Hope you all have a wonderful evening.
Are you headed out?
No, I'm just gonna head on to bed, I think.
Absolutely. Rest well, and see you come morning.
Mm-hmm. And you rest well too, Miss Amethyst. I hope you get a good night's rest over there.
Well, thank you.
I'll try to keep an eye on Caleb so he doesn't wake you up in the middle of the night there.
What's that supposed to
Good
mean?
night's rest.
Oh,
I
it's
was
not
just
a
fooling
worry.
Caleb. Just fooling Caleb. Lighten up.
Don't appreciate the implications of that joke.
Well, I don't know about you, but I've been out on the field and I've snuggled up to whomever was there to stay warm when it was cold at night. I ain't got no pride against saying it either, and I don't know what you've got in your mind, mister, but
Caleb, I wouldn't snuggle you. I know you wouldn't appreciate that.
Well, thank you, miss. That's very considerate.
Of course. Mr. Talent, are you keeping Caleb away from me by being by me yourself?
well, I could do that if you wish, miss, but I'll leave that up to your choice.
Well, to be honest, you can see the stars really well on the mesa. Like you can't really see at the end. So I don't know if I'll be sleeping much. I kind of just want to look at the sky. So if you could maybe accompany me to the rooftop,
Well,
make sure I don't get any. Yes, Caleb.
we may not engage in any snuggling, but I could at least make sure that you are safe. And I might want to look at the stars myself. Seems they've been doing some moving lately.
Oh. Oh, Mr. Talent, I believe your talents aren't needed tonight then.
Well, that's okay. I'll just sit here and keep my cards warm.
Mr. Marshall, are you heading to bed?
Well, I may sit up a while longer, but uh, just be sure if you're heading back out there, you don't disturb them none. I understand the rest of this be private for them.
Oh yes, I'm just gonna go on the rooftop and look at the sky. I don't want to intrude. It was real nice of you what you did, giving your Dana away. I appreciate how much you respect
It's
them.
just what was right.
Of course. I agree.
Besides, kid needs something to look up to and something to entertain them. So
Yeah. I hope you're not too worried none about all this end time stuff. I know you're the marshal, but you don't need to. It's gonna be okay.
Oh, no,
Don't feel like it's on you to protect everybody.
don't
We all
bother
take
me
care of
none.
each other.
I appreciate
Okay.
that, ma'am. But it really don't bother me none. It's comes with the territory, as they say.
Oh yes, sir. Well, if you ever need any help, I'm happy to help you in any way I can.
Well, I was doing some thinking about that myself. Been a lot of trouble coming to town the last few days, and it might be that I need some deputies at some point.
Oh sure.
I
Well,
can't promise a good paycheck, and I can't promise a whole lot, but
Oh, that's
well,
okay. Well, do you think maybe I could do some kind of like some hidden stuff where maybe I could try to get people at the end think I'm just some pretty little lady, and maybe they'll tell me the trouble they're planning on, not thinking that it's me, and then I pull out a badge.
yes, ma'am, that does sound like one of them penny novels, I think. But well, we'll
Just
just
let me
put a
know.
pin in that for now, and when we get back to the office, maybe I'll see about things.
Oh yes, sir. That sounds great.
And Caleb, I don't know if you've ever considered that line of employment, but I think it would suit a man like you.
I'm greatly honored by that, Marshal, but ranching's a full-time job. I'm a mite too busy to be deputized.
Well, I understand that. I don't mean to offer you a permanent position. I understand you've got to take care of what you've got to take care of. All I ask is that you consider what may be left behind if there are not good men to stand in front of the things that are coming.
If you ever need an extra rifle at your side, Marshal, you only need to ask.
Yes, sir, Mr. Caleb. I respect that a great deal. Now, the both of you kids get up there to the roof and enjoy yourselves.
Yes, sir.
You have a good night, Marshal. Thank you.
Amethyst will start to go and like lace up arms with Caleb, and then remember he didn't like that last time, and she'll stop and put her hand to herself and just kind of politely like.
Violetta lays down and turns over to Minnie. And do you think Papa's going to be all right?
I absolutely think he's going to be all right, darling.
The drumming sounds die down outside. And for about an hour, it's silence. And then a loud noise pierces the night. Like 1,000 bugles all being blown at once. And you hear a voice that echoes across the plains that says, "Come!" And with that, we're going to go on a break. We'll be back in about 8 minutes. Welcome back. Just before the break, we had Lady Amethyst and Caleb making their way up to the roof to gaze at the stars when there was a interrupting noise as the sound of bugles rang out and a loud voice saying, "Come!" And then it goes silent again.
Well, thank you, Caleb, or Mr. Caleb, for joining me on the roof.
Miss Amelia, did you hear that sound?
Oh, what did the oh, what did my daddy call it? Like a trumpet, kind of, right? Some kind of instrument. Yes. Well, it sounds like the festivities are going quite well.
I don't know that was any festivities.
Well, what do you think it is, sir?
First trumpet. Beginning of the apocalypse.
Oh,
Supposed to be accompanied by hail and fire with blood thrown to earth.
oh well, if that were to happen, we would go inside.
I imagine we would.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to sound like I'm making fun. I just
No.
I'm not familiar with that. I'm not really sure what's going on, but I'm just I don't know. I've learned from my mom and my dad that when you worry about something, it doesn't change it. It just makes you a little bit more upset than you would already be. So as hard as it is, you just kind of have to accept what's going on, I guess. And if that's what's happening, then I'm glad I get a chance to look at the stars up on the mesa. I'll make the most of it. I hope you're not too afraid.
Be afraid? No, I think there's probably some wisdom in that, Miss Amelia, that outlook of yours.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Caleb.
I suppose there isn't anything I can change about it.
Yes,
Just
well,
good.
I do have a cat walking on my keyboard, but
And what that means.
yes, I'm sorry.
You need to keep control of that thing, Miss Amethyst, to wrestle around Caleb, because
Oh no. It don't mean nothing. It's just my thoughts kind of prattle around, and I don't know. I hope sometimes I say something that's worth anything. I just
I think what you say is worth plenty, Miss Amelia.
well, thank you. I know that might be hard for you to say.
Look, I want to get something straight. I may have my disagreements with Miss Morrow, a lot of disagreements, and she with me. But while I may not approve of your profession from a moral standpoint, I don't think you're less of a person.
Well, thank you.
You're a lovely young woman, if you'll forgive me saying so. And
You don't have to apologize, none. Thank you. I am. I'm not unfamiliar to being called a lovely young woman, but from you, it feels different. So thank you.
well, I wouldn't like to mislead you or anything.
Oh no, I don't mean it like that, sir. I just mean
no.
Sometimes people say you're a lovely young woman, not because they mean it, because they want or mean something else. But when you just called me that, I could tell that was your intention, and that was the only intention behind it. And I think that's very special. I know some people might call you prudish, but I mean, in some ways, I think it's kind of honorable that you avoid that kind of thing, because that means when you commit yourself to something or you're part of something, it's because you truly believe in it. It's a hard lifestyle, sir. I mean, life's hard. It's pretty easy to try to condone that with other things, and I think it's impressive that you don't.
Thank you, Miss Amelia. That's kind of you.
Of course. Do you see any what was it you said? Blood coming from the sky? Do you know
Well,
any
I
of the stars, sir?
know the stars well. I learned some.
Which ones?
Well, here. There's the North Star,
Yeah, I know that one.
Little Dipper. Over there. You know any constellations? I
Um,
don't know many.
I really just know the North Star. I know. I've never really learned the names, but I know what they're supposed to look like. That makes sense, like a map. You know, I don't know
Exactly.
the names of the towns, but I know the directions they should be in.
Just like a map. That's what my pa taught me.
That's what my pa taught me.
Well, guess we
Is
got
there a
more in
bi-
common than you first thing.
Is there a Big Dipper to the little one? Is that why it's called Little?
Yeah, I think
Oh,
there ought to be.
that's quite nice.
Hmm. Yeah, you can find your way with the stars if you get lost. Unless they start moving around, then I don't know what to do.
Well, we'll deal with that as it comes. But as for now, I think I don't know. Today kind of made me feel a little lost, but I do feel a little bit more aware of where I'm heading, looking at the stars, I suppose.
It's the darndest thing, Miss Amelia. Apparently they found me wandering in the desert, and I can't remember a thing about how I got there.
What do you last remember? I've got an
Like I
eidetic memory. You could show me just about anything, or I can remember what I had for lunch last Tuesday. It was bread. I didn't
Well,
really have much, but it's kind of easy to remember. But
well, Miss Amelia, I may not have a diabetic memory, but normally I can at least remember what I did last night.
well, what do you last remember? Maybe I can, with my memory skills, I might be able to walk you through and try to unlock something that you might have forgotten or locked away. That's what you do. Your brain locks stuff away, and you just got to find the key.
Sure what you're talking about, but I guess the last thing I remember is, like I said, riding home, and then some impression of talking to my father.
Oh, was he visiting you as a spirit?
Spirit, I can't imagine, but there's so many mysteries in creation. Who am I to say? Maybe he was. Maybe he was trying to warn me about something. You know, Revelation talks about the dead walking the earth.
Oh, well, I suppose if it's the end times, I mean, who better to help you process into the next life than someone who's already done it? Someone you know and love.
I can't figure is why I don't remember. I don't remember what happened.
So, Caleb, if you want to focus and try to see if you can remember something, an intelligence and
Uh-oh.
intelligence. Oh man, I'm sunk.
Yep.
Can I offer any assistance?
I think we might have to do something with that a little bit later if this is his role, though. But
Sure.
maybe the next time. But I think that's a good idea. Let's go with enigmas. Intelligence and enigmas.
That is no good. You know what? Can I spend a point of willpower?
Absolutely. Add 3 die to your pool.
Okay. That gives me
That's
4
of course
dice.
after subtracting the 3 for being unskilled in enigmas.
Oh crap! Really?
That's how it works. Is there
So I
something
would
else?
be, I would,
If you've got an idea of how you would like to play this, I mean, I'm always willing to listen to a player suggestion.
so I would be rolling a single die then.
But it's not a luck die. It's actually a die. So if you get a 10,
It's an actual
you can
die.
actually get, yeah. Luck dies when you get no dice and it's pass fail.
Well, I'm just gonna go for it. One die.
That's only costing you willpower.
Hmm. The 9.
That is a success. You suddenly have the feeling, it strikes you for a moment and you feel a little weightless. It actually makes you throw yourself forward and try to catch yourself as you recall seeing the world shrinking away from you as you went up in the air.
I think I remembered something, not so much a memory as a sensation.
Oh, what kind of sensation, sir?
Like I was rising into heaven.
Oh, well, that's a good thing, isn't it? Isn't that what was supposed to happen? They said ascend, right? That's going up, I think.
Well, if I was raptured, I shouldn't be here anymore. Miss Amelia, that's the problem.
Were you maybe in the middle of ascending and then you fell?
This makes any sense. How was I ascended? Picked up by angels or something else?
Well, you're a good person. Maybe they thought you were ready early. I don't know. Whatever your Bible says.
Could be imagining it. I mean, what kind of feeling is it to be rising? Never had that before. Climbing maybe, but not just rising into the air. How do I even know what that feels like?
I don't know, sir. But I'm for both our sake, I'm gonna believe that it's a good sign, and maybe they're just prepping you for what's to come. Whoever that may be, spirits, angels, whatever you want it to be. Well, you know, you're back here, so maybe they you know, like I said, I think you're the most decent of us, so maybe they were gonna take you early, but maybe they left you here so you could help the rest of us get ready.
I'd do that better if I could remember.
Hmm,
I'm
maybe.
sorry. I shouldn't bother you with this anymore.
Oh no, it's no bother. I mean, I was worried about you. So anything that I can do to help listen to you, or I don't know. It seems like you keep a lot of stuff to your own, and I'm someone who gets talked to a lot, and I don't mind it.
Well, I don't like to ask other people for too much help.
Hmm.
But I appreciate the offer, Miss Amelia. It's kind of you.
Of course, I try to
And
be as kind as I can.
It's a rare kind of kindness you got.
Oh, well, thank you, Mr. Caleb.
You're a rare kind of person. In a good way.
Well, thank you. I can't tell you how much that means coming from you. I think, like I said, I think you're a real honorable man, and I appreciate you. This is the second time you've kept me safe, so don't feel bad about asking me for help because you've helped me twice now.
Sure. Well, you don't owe me nothing, just so you know. It's only right that a man should make sure that, women folk are kept safe.
Well, thank you. I guess we'll say goodbye to the stars for tonight then, and head to bed, and hope we're all still here in the morning, huh?
Here or someplace better.
Yes, sir.
Good night, Miss Amelia.
I'm Mr. Caleb.
Hope you sleep well.
You too. Don't disappear, okay?
I'll do my best.
Okay. I'll see ya. She'll go to
Yes,
bed.
ma'am. Caleb will do the same.
You guys make it downstairs. Jax found himself a corner, pulled his hat down over his eyes, and he is out. I assume
put a-
Minnie and sorry.
Does he have a blanket?
No, actually he doesn't.
I'll put a blanket over him before I go to bed.
All right. That's sweet of you.
That's what I've been told.
He is holding some cards in his hand though.
Ooh, yeah, let me check those out.
Now they're face down on his knee, so you tell me how you want to do this. This could be interesting.
Well, does it look like he still has the whole deck in his hands, or does it look like he's
No,
got
it
some specific
looks
one
like he's
picked out?
got 5 cards.
Ooh, I'll just take him out of his hand, to be honest. If that wakes him up, that's fine. I'm just interested in it.
All right. Well, let's see. Since you are not attempting to be cautious, let's just see how aware he is.
Yeah, I'm just grabbing him. There's no stealth or anything in it. She's just interested.
You pull the cards out of his hand, and he doesn't even move.
Nice. Cool.
And
Read me my hand, sir.
It's got a hand of aces and eights.
Aces and eights. That means something, doesn't it?
And he looks up
that means
and he
something.
looks up and says, "Just put them back when you're done."
Oh, I was just curious what you had picked out, Mr. Talent.
I don't pick the cards. The cards pick me.
Oh, that's very reverential of you. She'll hand them back.
Thank you much.
What do those ones mean?
They don't mean a thing. Don't worry about it.
Oh.
Just get some rest.
Okay. I will. Goodbye, Mr. Talent.
Good night, Miss Amethyst.
Oh, yes, good night. Sorry. I was talking to Caleb, and I don't know, feels like maybe we won't wake up in the morning. I'm a little I'm a little nervous, I suppose.
Well, he's a little hellfire and brimstone for my tastes.
Oh, well, he may come off that way, but
yeah,
I don't think he is.
I was raised more fairies and the gods and
Sure.
myths and things. So
I was raised on cactus juice, so I guess I just don't know nothing.
Well, I guess all of us had a bit of a prickly growing up.
Yes, sir. Well, do stay safe. Stay safe. Sorry, it's a little late.
Little too much cactus juice.
Yes, sir. I'll see you in the morning.
All right.
Oh, and this blanket was for you.
Well,
she'll
thank
kind
you.
of push it back.
Much appreciated.
Of course. She'll head to bed.
All right. I'm just going to go around and see what everybody else is doing, make sure we're all settling in. So Minnie and Violetta's out.
Yeah, Minnie will just stay there with her, cover her up, and pine away and hope Flores isn't dead.
All right. Marshall.
Well, I figure I'm just laying in my bedroll. I'm staring at the wall and going over a list of folks that I've been meaning to apologize for a long time. Guess I haven't been to the pastor about it, but I'm thinking maybe I ought to.
All right. Caleb, you sacking out?
Caleb will stay awake for a little while, just with what's left of his rifle in his hands,
All right.
studying it, running his thumb over where the barrel's going.
And the cut is smooth. It is not jagged like you would get with a saw.
He sighs through his nose, puts it away, and goes to bed.
You have a nice, restful evening. And by the time someone comes in to wake you all up, it's about 10 o'clock in the morning. And they bring in food and set things down, and eventually Casa walks in and, good morning, folks. I'd ask how you slept, but looks like most of you still are.
Good morning, ma'am. Thank you very much for the wonderful place you gave us to rest and all the food you provided us.
That's the least we can do. Well, it's not the least. I mean, we could have done less, but I think that's your phrase, but we take care of our guests.
Morning.
I wanted to let you know that Mr. Flores is doing a little bit better, but I'm sticking to, I think it's going to take him a few days to heal up.
I don't normally sleep this late. What time is it?
I believe by your reckoning it would be around 10 o'clock.
Clock. I should have been up.
Or as we like
4
to
hours
say,
ago.
well into the workday.
Well into it.
Oh, I guess the phrase is we hate to eat and run, but I think there's some things that we got to take care of back home.
Well, I'll say it seems that a lot of people appear to be gathering outside of Miller's cornfield. Looks like maybe the whole town's turned out. A lot of people milling around.
Cornfield.
You guys didn't fill him in.
Well, we thought it might be best to wait till the morning sun could elucidate it a little bit better. Caleb, do you mind stepping outside and looking over the edge of the mesa down towards Miller's Field?
What's this about, Marshall?
Well, I mentioned cactus that had been cut straight through like a circle in your gun.
You said something about it.
Well, the fields are just about the same. Got big circles in them.
How big are we talking?
Big enough to put a dent in his product, I'll tell you that. I'm worried about folks being able to feed themselves. That's what it's getting to.
Caleb steps outside and looks out over the mesa toward the cornfield to see for himself.
So basically, the cornfield has a pattern in it like that. Large swath of circles cut out, a line between each one.
What in Sam Hill? I suppose now's a good time to ask as any. Anybody else hear that trumpet last night?
Did I hear that trumpet last night?
I think everybody heard that, unless they want to say they were asleep and didn't. I would say you heard it.
Well, I heard it. Was it not part of the festivities last night?
It wasn't
I
our
heard it
doing, no.
I heard it also, but I figured it wasn't the kind of thing to dwell upon. Not at this moment in time.
What do you think it could mean? Because I know
Well,
what I'm thinking.
What I think it means is we got some folk to take care of back home. We got to get to that, and we got to take care of them fast. I don't know what is coming, but I'll tell you, it sounds to me like something is. And, well, like I told you yesterday, I think a few good men and women, Lady Amethyst, Miss Minnie, is about the only thing that's going to stand in between the good folks of this town and this mesa and whatever may be coming.
Now, I might ask you, Marshal, those fields, were they cut or burned?
Well, that's what I'm meaning to find out today. If they've been cut, we can bring some of the corn up to the folks here. If, of course, they won't be eating it. But if it's anything like where you were found to have gone missing, it might be burnt up.
How well do you know the Book of Revelation, Marshal?
Well, I suppose I don't read it as often as I ought to. I can't quite make out a lot of the words.
Give you a few. The first angel sounded, and there followed hail and fire mingled with blood, and they were cast upon the earth. And the third part of trees was burnt up, and all green grass was burnt up.
Oh, it's lucky for us. There's no grass out here to burn.
Maybe no grass, but fields. That's something close, wouldn't you reckon?
Well, I reckon by what you said, that was meant to happen after the sound of those trumpets, and happened before.
Hmm.
Like I said, I don't think it's the type of thing we ought to dwell on. If that is his domain, then it's his domain to take care of. We got to take care of the folks here on Earth until then. That's the way I figure it.
But, Mr. McCarty, do you really believe that it's the end?
I'm not the only one who thinks so. You were here in Casa last night, weren't you?
I'm not deaf. I was asking your opinion, but I guess I was mistaken.
Well, if you're asking my opinion on something, maybe it really is the end times.
I'm gonna start charging you double on all drinks.
I don't drink, Miss Morrow, so you go right ahead.
Make it triple then.
Now, Caleb, I really do think you ought to reconsider what we spoke about, but I'm not going to keep pushing you about it.
Thank you, Marshal. I'll give it due consideration, but right now I really ought to get back to my ranch and see what's going on.
I can understand that.
Ocho comes in and Marshall, I don't know what's happening down there at the farm, but looks like there may be a fist fight.
Oh. All right. Excuse me, folks. Miss Costa, thank you again for the kindness of your people and the hospitality you've shown us. Do you mind if I leave Blue here a while? Is there a horse that I might borrow? He got a little bit. Well, I just worry for him.
What's with your horse?
He got bit.
I'll have a look at him, see what I can do.
You mind your farm. You mind your people. I appreciate it, and if you can bring him back with you, I wouldn't mind that. I just need a good horse to ride down on, that's all.
Tocho says, you can have one of mine.
Thank you, Tocho.
And I'll only
you're always
charge you.
welcome.
I'll only charge you a little rent.
You charge me whatever you feels right. I'll make sure you get paid it.
You hear a gunshot echoing from the distance.
I take out to get this horse.
Violetta is heading towards the door following the marshal, and she looks back at Minnie. Come on.
Violetta, darling, I'm not sure I know where you think you're going.
I'm going with the marshal.
To do what? Honey, you are
Learn.
9 years old.
I'm going to learn.
You're going to learn how to gunfight.
Jack's-
Adult.
Jack walks up besides Minnie, and he's been shuffling a deck of cards, and he puts it in front of her and says, "Cut."
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, all right. Well, cut it.
And he takes it and he goes, "Well, Miss Morrow, Emilio's probably going to be laid up for a few days, and you can always come back and see him, I bet. But he wants her to learn, and I think she'd be safer with you." And he draws out 5 cards and looks at them and puts them back into the deck, shuffles it some more.
We're going to have a chat later about those cards. Those are strange.
Just a deck of cards. And he twirls one around. "Oh, what's that behind your ear?" He pulls a card out. "Oh, look at that. Queen of Hearts." Tucks it back in the deck.
Clever. Very, very clever. Flattery will only get you so far. Do you really think it's appropriate? She's a child.
Well, there's a bunch of people out there. There's a field that's been turned into circles, and she doesn't need to be up here and hear about her dad moaning, complaining, or suffering while he's getting better.
Are you staying here or are you going as well?
I'm going as well. I'm going to back up the marshal if he needs it.
Well, you got any spare bullets? Because I'm afraid I shot most of mine up with the spiders.
And he reaches around on his belt, and he's got a gun in a holster, but there's no bullets on his belt. He goes, "Sorry, I don't carry ammunition."
You just throw your gun at him and hope it comes back like a boomerang?
Well,
That's talent. I guess it's a suitable name for you.
the gun's a last
Well,
resort. I
where's
bet you the
that old-
marshal. I bet you the marshal has a few rounds.
Violetta, you're gonna beat the death of me, child. Go and get that old nag Jade, and we'll ride on down and see what's going on.
All right.
Was there a gunshot?
There was a gunshot.
And Amethyst will walk out. She just woke up. She heard the gunshot go off and it woke her up, and she's like,
Marshall,
what
are you-
happened?
Marshall, are you waiting up for people, or are you heading on down? Just so I know where you're at.
I'm not going to be waiting up. The only thing I'm
Okay.
going to leave is word that you take good care of Missy, and Caleb, the rifle on the back of Blue, that's yours. You take it.
Thank you, Marshall.
All right.
Is someone
about-
doing shooting? What's
And Violetta's like, "There was some shooting down there, and it sounds like there was a fight down by the farm, and the marshal's headed over there, and I want to go with him and see what's happening because it's life, it's learning."
Oh, sure.
Child, I already asked you. Go get the horse. We'll go.
Okay,
Hurry.
okay. So she runs
No.
off to fetch Jade for you.
Are we leaving her paw here to rest?
As much as I hate, I don't want to, but we don't have a choice. I
He'll
don't
be
think
well
he-
taken care of. He's on the mend, and we'll get him back down to you as soon as we can.
Well, he likes his coffee a certain way. Just make sure you make it right, please.
He
ma'am.
can look forward to your coffee when he comes down there to see you. It'll give him a reason to get up out of the bed and feel better.
All right, don't let him strain himself. And once he goes on talking about those books of his, he never stops.
We've noticed.
Just sort of distract him with something else. Talk about dirt or something, and he'll change his mind.
Good to know. And we'll send down word on the daily. Let you know how he's doing. Don't worry.
Thank you. If you need anything from the inn, food, blankets, alcohol, you name it, and it's yours.
Thank you. No alcohol, please.
The one thing I have abundance of.
Miss Morrow,
Yes, Amethyst.
are you sweet on Mr. Emilio?
No, of course not. Don't be ridiculous. And like blood red. I just don't want anything to happen to him. That's all. He's a patron of the. Are you going to the fight? I hear there's the fist fighting and there's a gun and Violetta, let me help you, darling. And she takes off.
Mr. Caleb.
Yes, ma'am.
What?
She's sweet on him, huh? Don't you think?
I don't like to speculate on such things, but if you're asking, I imagine so.
Well, if you think so, then I'm sure it must be true. Then, are you going down to the gun? The fight, whatever's going on. Are you checking it out, or are you going back home?
I intended to go back to the ranch, but suppose as long as there's a gun involved now, Marshall might need my help.
Oh, well, I mean, gunshots attract a lot of people, so maybe your family will be there too, and you can meet up with them.
You may be right about that, Miss Amelia.
Oh, thank you. I'm gonna go
Yes,
hop
ma'am.
on my horse, and I'll see you down there.
Yes, ma'am. I'll head that way. Mr. Talent,
Yes, sir.
you got Big Bill around here?
No, we took him back to your farm.
Well,
Come on, you can ride down with me. And then you can borrow mine to get yours, and I'll head out to the farm later, or you can bring him into town.
appreciate it, Mr. Talent.
No problem. Just take care of my Fluffy. Been
Don't
a friend
worry,
of mine
sir.
for a long time.
Don't worry. If there's one thing I know, it's horses.
So, Marshall, since you're riding hard and fast to get there, let's have a dexterity and ride.
I think I'm going to spend a willpower on this just to make sure nothing goes wrong.
Okay. All right. What could possibly go wrong?
It's a good question. Why don't you ask Emilio? It's going to be 2 successes.
That's good enough. You make it down there, and it's a good, at a full gallop, it's a good 30-minute ride down to the cornfield. But you make it. You cut around town, and you pull in time to see 2 bloodied men, one of them lying on the ground, blood just all over in here, and a gun lying about 10 feet away on the ground, and other people just standing around, and a lot of milling and talking. And at this point, Jared Monroe walks up and, "Sheriff, it's about damn time you got here."
Yes, sir. Sorry I couldn't be here sooner. Now, what the hell is going on?
Valiant there was getting in an argument with the Swede, and Miller just hauled off and knocked him one, and the gun came out of his hand and went off, and that fired and hit one of the cows, and
Oh, hell. Well, all right.
and as
I'll
you
hop down off
see,
the horse.
Miller, who's a very large, imposing guy, has got his arms crossed, and he's just walking back and forth.
Mr. Miller, I'd like to hear your side of things.
My side of things. I come out this morning, and look at my field.
Unfortunately, I did get a good view from up on the mesa.
Who does a thing like that? And then they're coming out here talking about the young woman I've been seeing. And
Well, all right. Now, I don't know who's done this to your field, but we're going to find out. I'm going to take a look at this myself, but I'd like to hear what you have to say. And what's
Well,
this about?
I don't appreciate him calling her a trollop when he's never even met her.
Right, and he shouldn't say that. That ain't right. But you can't be hauling off and hitting a fella either.
I'm sorry, Marshall.
It's all right.
I can't help it. It's just this feeling deep inside of me. It's just he puts his hand on you. You just don't realize what she does to me. I mean, when she,
I think I understand.
I've been so lonely out here, and she showed up here just 3 nights ago, and
3 nights ago. Mm.
and you know, when she holds me in her arms so tight, it lets me know, you know, everything's gonna be all right.
Yes, sir. I think I understand exactly what you mean now.
I mean, these people want me to be sad and blue for the rest of my life. That's right. You got it.
I know. It's been. I had not to laugh. I did. But look, now, I understand. Love of a woman do things to a man. Why don't you, folks, I'm going to get this underhand. For now, please disperse. This is under control.
Tish says, Marshall, what's that? And's pointing into the field. And you hear some rustling, and you see as the stalks kind of move. And emerging from the field, about 3 feet tall. I mean, the best way to explain them is toddlers, maybe a little bit older, dressed in a beautiful green. They've all got long corn silk blonde hair. Their complexion's a little off, though. They look a little yellow skinned and kind of like pockmarked across it. And they just come walking out and start mingling in with the crowd. And as you look around, there's probably 10, maybe 12. And they're just walking around and looking up and looking. And Tish walks over and it raises its arms like a toddler. And she picks it up and goes, "Oh, look, Marshall." She's holding it in her arm.
Yeah, that's real lovely, ma'am. Now, go ahead and set the child down. And like I said, everybody get on home. You leave these children here. I'll take care of this.
Well, what are you worried about, Marshall? I mean, what are you going to do with all
I
these
ain't
children?
worried about nothing. I told you what to do. Now get.
Well, that just ain't right, Marshall. And about this time, the rest of them, who weren't going as fast as you, but follow along, pull up. And Jack hands the reins to you, Caleb, and slips off the horse and take good care of her. Violetta immediately comes down off the horse and runs over to look at one of these things. And she's sitting there examining it and looking at his hair and talking to him. And, you know, how are you? And what's your name? And
Miss Violetta, come over here now, darling.
Whose kids
The
are
rest
these?
of you folks.
Sorry, Marshall.
Not at all, Caleb. Go ahead.
I'm just wondering whose kids are these?
I don't know, but we're going to get that sorted out. For now, I'd like everybody to head back home, and I'm not going to be kind about asking. Anybody else who wants to stay is going to find themselves in the cell for the rest of the day.
the Reverend's standing there with 2 of these children. He's like, Marshall, I mean, let's be reasonable. These children are out here alone. They came from the cornfield. I mean, maybe
Yes,
there are some
Reverend.
settlers that are lost the other side. I mean, look at the color of their skin. They're obviously not fed well.
Yes, I understand, Reverend, and I'm going to make preparations for that. For now, if you would like to organize the fine folk of this town, perhaps you could get together some victuals for these children. In the meantime, I need to discuss things with them.
And Tish has one of them is walking. Well, then I'm taking this one with me, Marshall, and I will take him home and fix food. He's such
You
a
will
sweet
do
little
nothing of the
fella.
sort. You will leave them here. And in time, yes, you may take some of them home, depending on what I find out. But for now, these children need to stay together, and I don't want to see any of them wandering off anywhere with any of you
You feel
until
a
I've
hand on your
established where they
you
are.
feel a hand on your shoulder, Sheriff. It's Jack. I'm Sheriff Marshall. Keep doing that. Marshall, I think maybe we ought not upset him.
Maybe you're right. Folks, I urge you to hear what I have to say on this matter. There's a lot of strange things going on around us. I'd like to come to grasp with them. But folks, I'll be honest with you, some of these things are going to require a delicate hand. If you bring that child home with you, I cannot promise you that everything is going to work out. But I understand the need of a person to take care of the young ones. I urge you all, please consider it. We can make victuals for all of them. We can take them over to the schoolhouse. But I don't want to see anybody take any of them back to their homes. Not for now, at least. Until we can find out where they came from, where the rest of them is. I think that ought to be for the best.
The one that's in Tish's arms looks over at the others and goes, "Ooga?" One of them looks back and goes, "Ooga." And then the rest of them all say, "Chaka." And the one in her arms looks at her, smiles, and you hear a pop sound. And a little white spot appears on the side of it. And then a moment later, there's another pop. And then there is an ear-deafening sound as Tish and the little yellow child vanish into a cloud of red mist. And the only thing left are her legs below the knees and the boots she was wearing.
Jesus preserve us.
Violetta, you come here right now.
Caleb reaches for that gun he took from Blue.
Everybody, right now, clear out. Get away from these children.
Jack draws 5 cards from his deck, looks at him, looks you in the eye, Sheriff, and hits you in the chest hard enough that it knocks you about 6 feet back. He runs forward, grabs Violetta,
Oh,
turns, and just throws her towards the Swede, Alvin Miller, who catches her just as the little toddler that she was speaking to pops 3 times and explodes. And then you hear from all around the crowd as these are spread out among the townspeople, multiple pops. Then a second round of pops.
I Are the people moving away from the children?
Some are just looking, just shocked, unsure what to do.
Right. Are the children standing still, or are any of them moving towards
They're
the
all
town
standing next to the people they came in by.
Right.
Mostly around the townspeople. Again, there are two next to the Reverend.
Caleb's gonna
Sorry, go ahead, Caleb.
No, I was gonna say Caleb's gonna train his rifle on one of the nearest children he can see.
All right, there's one in front of the doctor, Paul Jackson. So that's probably one you could get a clean bead on. Everybody in town's out here. Buddy, the store owner, he's actually kneeled down talking to a couple of them.
How much like a human child do these things look?
Very much.
Caleb aims down the sights of the rifle. He tries to squeeze the trigger, but his hand won't move.
Mm-hmm.
Well, everyone, drinks on me at the end. Let's go. Come on. and Amethyst is going to start trying to do crowd control, encourage people, try to take.
So you're basically trying to persuade them to grab a cheek in each hand and haul ass?
Close. Yeah, she's afraid to get close, but anyone who's listening and still aware, she's trying to urge away.
All right.
Minnie goes straight for Violetta and the Swede, and I will pull my gun and aim it at any one of those little creepy children of corn that come anywhere near us.
All right. Lady Amethyst, for trying to convince the crowd to listen to you, let's go with a presence and persuasion. Minnie, if you're intending to shoot, you can pick one of the targets and shoot at it.
I'll only shoot if they come towards us.
Okay. They aren't moving. They're just making popping noises.
You're popping like popcorn.
Is this considered a social roll?
Yes, it is.
Okay. What were the dice again?
Presence and persuasion.
Presence and persuasion. Okay. And my striking looks gives me 2 extra.
Sounds good to me. As if in slow motion, Marshall, 5 cards float down in front of your face and land on the ground in front of you. Aces and eights.
Five.
All right.
5 successes.
That is a dramatic success. So I'm going to let you know you are going to save some townspeople.
Yay!
Let's see how the rest of them do.
Yay! I have that covers one of my aspirations. Does that mean anything?
Yes.
I have an aspiration.
Solve your aspiration and take a beat. Absolutely.
Nice.
Resolve, not solve. Come on, camera.
Cool.
I'm also going to say that finally, at the last second, probably, Caleb will just squeeze his eyes shut and try and shoot the.
All right, with your eyes shut, it's going to be a dexterity and aim, and I'm going to take 1 away from your die pool.
Fair enough. Well, I have a specialty in lever actions, so that'll balance it out probably.
That's cool. That balances it out.
All right.
Minnie, what's your goal with heading over to Violetta and the Swede?
I'm going to stay and get her behind me, and I don't want if they're not moving forward, I'm going to try to get her towards the end.
Yeah, the closest one to use about 10 feet away. So, all right.
Okay. What's their nasty popping range?
Hard to know. You've only seen one pop so far, and it demolished a woman. While you're thinking about it, Marshall?
So I'm going to draw my revolver. I'm going to take aim at the two next to the Reverend. And
Okay.
I'm going to keep trying to tell people to get away. I'm hoping that the gunshots will help encourage them.
Okay. You can either focus on the gunshots or you can focus on persuading people or commanding people. It'll be your choice on which one, but it's got to be one or the other for this.
I think I'd like to focus on commanding them. Would it be possible to squeeze off one shot towards the ground to help encourage that?
Absolutely. I'll add a die to your roll for that. There's been enough explosions, it might startle people.
That's the hopes. Startled and moving's better than standing and dead.
Yep. All right. Minnie?
My trained observer, can I get anything with that?
If you want to search and give me an idea that you're looking for something.
I don't know. I don't know. They look aggressive. I can't say they look creepy because yes, they look creepy and they look suspicious.
And they're making poppy noises.
Yeah, which is worse. Sound like Orville Redenbacher's.
They're children of the popcorn.
Yes, they are children of the popcorn. I've never used trained.
I have been holding on to this for 2 weeks.
I hate you. I love you, but I hate you. Tam, help me with the trained observer. What do I get out of it?
Well, while Minnie's doing, you overhear the Swede as he's talking, and he says, I mean, they look just like her, but there's no way that's possible. It's only been 3 days. Okay, Marshall, how'd it go?
I am not sure if I missed the die pool.
Oh, you said you're right. You're wanting to do a command and we were adding a die to it. It'll be a persuasion or intimidation, your choice, and presence.
Oh, well, that's good. That's the pool that I was hoping for. I will spend a willpower on this as well. That's 2 successes.
All right. So, Caleb, I'm trying to remember, which one were you aiming at? It was one by the Reverend, wasn't it?
But, yeah. Well, I thought it was by the doctor.
Oh, by the doctor. You're right. Thank you. I have to figure out who dies and who lives, so I'm trying to make sure I get the numbers right. All right, Minnie, what's up? What did you decide on?
Okay, trained observer looking for anything important. Who in the hell do these creepy kids look like?
All right.
Okay, so is this a social role?
This is more trained observers an investigation role. So you can use wits or intelligence and investigation.
That's pretty good. I almost dropped dice everywhere. 2 successes.
Right. You catch on to what the Swede is saying about they look just like her. He must be talking about the woman. It's only been 3 days. And there are 12 of these. And as you listen to more of his ramblings, he mentions some things about passionate love, her lips like candy. She has a strange, strange taste for nitroglycerin, though.
I'm going to ask him, what are you going on about?
All right. But in this time frame that you do this, then you're turning around to talk to him. 10 of the people moved away, and they made it a pretty clear distance because a 5 is a dramatic success. Good job, Lady Amethyst. Caleb, you shoot the one that is in front of the doctor. And when you do, he is sprayed with something kind of a clear, viscous liquid from the waist down. And he's just looking at it for a minute, and he goes to flick it off. And there's a small explosion, and he's standing there looking. He's missing 3 fingers on his hand now. As you recognize this, you've seen it before. That's nitro. And he's covered in it. So,
Doctor, you hold still. Don't move none.
but while this is happening, the others detonate. Jared Monroe and their boy, they were too close. Jebediah Straunt, one of the prospectors. You see as his pickaxe head goes flying up into the air, doing cartwheels into the distance. There are 10 large craters in the road. Blood, bone. While you may find the pieces, it's going to be impossible to determine who the 8 people are individually to give them any kind of a proper burial. And I need everyone to make a resolve and composure roll, please. As you have just witnessed something horrific.
Does it factor into it if I have tolerance for biology as a merit?
Yes, it does. Gain a die for that. Absolutely.
All right. You said resolve and composure?
Yeah. Yep. Okay. Okay. Lady Amethyst, how'd it go?
1 success.
Seeing a lot of ones here.
Just the one. Hope it's okay.
Better than a nat one.
Yeah, much better. Way better. I'm sorry, did you? Okay. Well, for the rest of you that got ones, you're all going to take on the broken condition. As you have just seen something horrific and pretty much terrifying, as almost half the town has been blown apart by cute little children. Caleb, you know you did the best you could. You've got a chance maybe to save the doctor if he'll stay still. And you saw as Jack Beauregard ran forward with no thought other than getting Violetta out of trouble, knowing that he himself was at risk. The doc is shaken. Blood is spurting from his fingers, where his fingers used to be. Caleb? I don't think I'm going to make it, Caleb.
Don't talk like that, Doc.
No, I think I'm going to pass out, Caleb. Getting a little weak-kneed,
Doc.
and he starts to bend at the knees.
Doc, you do not pass out. You hear me? You stay standing. We are going to clean you off. Because if you look around you, it's about more than you. Now, you are the only doctor in this town, and we need you.
Caleb, I'm losing a lot of blood here, Caleb.
Just focus. All right? Caleb's gonna walk up and try and bandage his fingers.
Okay. And he
with his
seems
bandana.
to, as you do, okay, as you do this, he seems to hold in there a little bit, and he's just looking. He's like, Caleb, it's dripping down my clothes, Caleb.
I'd like
Now-
to fetch some water for this.
Probably
Okay.
ill-advised for me to get this close to him, but I'm going to do it anyway.
All right. And you see as some of this liquid gets to the edge of his vest, and it's just like a little drop hanging there. Seen on my
Try.
screen would do it again.
Is there any way I can try and soak it up with the edge of a bandana?
You can always try. You're trying. This isn't quite medicine. I'm giving you credit on the medicine for wrapping his hand, and you bolstered him up a
Okay.
little bit.
I do have a
But,
dot in medicine. I'm not untrained.
Okay. But this doesn't fall under medicine.
Oh, no. What is it?
I don't know that you have any. I don't think any of you have a specialty in explosives.
Nope.
So, man, this is. I'm thinking this is luck, but there ain't no luck option. This is a matter of survival. Let's do a survival and wits. No. Survival and dexterity, because if you F this up.
My wits is a dot higher. All right. I'm going to spend a point of willpower.
All right.
Easily. I'm going to do that. Can you spend multiple points of willpower on a roll? Or is just
Only one on a roll. Only one on a roll.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure. Dos.
All right. That's good enough. As you soak this into the cloth, and you're able to get quite a bit of it. But he's still pretty well coated, and it's kind of absorbing into his clothes now as well. So thank you, Caleb.
Don't thank me yet. We got to clean this off of you first.
Well, I want you to get back. I'm gonna try and take this off myself. I don't want you. You done risked enough.
As much as I want to help you, you're right. I got a wrench and a family that needs tending to. I wish you luck. No, I wish you the Lord's blessing, Doctor.
Mm. And when you say the Lord's name, the Reverend kind of snaps out of it a little bit and goes, yeah, Lord be with you. I'm not Catholic. And he turns and heads out the other way. The doctor slowly starts, with his one good hand, undoing the clothing and just gently laying it on the ground beside him. And he looks around and goes, everybody else, get the hell out of here. What are y'all doing?
Where is everybody? They're all in the inn.
Lady Amethyst got the 12 survivors, and you helped, and so did the marshal. Got 12 survivors headed towards the inn, so they were out of the blast area. That doesn't mean they didn't get covered in red mist. It just means they aren't wounded.
Yeah, Amethyst is leading the pack, and she's just walking. She's not saying anything. She's not looking anywhere. She's just walking.
I'll do the same. I'll head into the inn with the rest of them.
I'll grab Violetta and just hold her to me so she's not looking at the popcorn kids and what they did, and we go to the end.
And I'd be coming back to the dock with a bucket of water. I'm not going to get too close, but
yeah, just put that over there, Marshall. I don't know too much about this stuff. I don't know if water's going to help or not.
not sure. But if any of that's still on you after you take off your clothes, might try it. Well, hold on. Once you get those off, I'll toss some of the water on your clothes and see what it does. And then we'll see about getting you cleaned up. We're going to get you through this dock.
All right. Yeah, we're going to have to get back and cauterize this or something soon, because I'm losing a lot of blood here. Worst part is, I'm the only surgeon.
Well, I'm not going to leave you on your own, Doc. You tell me what you need, and I'll do what I can.
Minnie, as you attempt to head out with Violetta, she looks at you for a moment and says, Stop, just a minute. And she runs over to where the 5 cards are laying on the ground and scoops them up, and then runs back over to you.
Oh, darling.
She tucks them into the coveralls.
We're going to talk about those cards later. Are you all right?
Yeah.
You ever had a whiskey?
No, ma'am. No,
You
ma'am.
want to try one?
No, ma'am, I don't think I do. It's a pity we couldn't save one of them to look at and figure out. I've never heard of exploding people before. Even Mr. Verne doesn't write about stuff like that.
I don't think that's normal. There's something very strange about that, yeah.
So Marshall, Caleb, are you hanging around while this is going on, or?
Caleb actually is going to walk into the inn, sort of dragging his feet, staring ahead. He sits down and says, Miss Morrow, reckon I'm paying triple today, but God forgive me, I need a drink.
Darling, it's on the house. I go back and pour him full to the brim. Hold on so you don't spill it.
Ugh.
You get used to it, and I'll fill it back up. So what does your book say about that?
Not a lot.
Oh no. Caleb, I don't know how much Caleb drinks, but I don't think it's a whole lot. So
no, not a lot.
I think we're going to have to visit his resolve and stamina. While you're doing that, Marshall, the doctor's able to get the rest off and off to the side, and he looks, and it seems to be pretty well. It's soaked into his clothes, but he seems to be all right. And as he's standing there in his all naturals, suddenly a warm wind blows in from the south, and you hear a noise, almost like voices, in the distance. Turning to look that way, off in the distance, like a mirage, you see the waves of heat. And slowly, it's like a shadow coalesces into a rider. And the rider moves in and gets closer. The dust trail growing behind them. They're moving at a pretty good clip. They get a little ways out of town and they stop for a moment and lean down off the side of the horse and pick something up. And they look at it and shake it off and put it in their pocket. And they continue to ride in. As they get closer, you see a dark-skinned woman, probably, I don't know, mid-30s maybe? Nice shape, kind of stocky in the shoulders. Very definitely, you can tell it's a woman riding in. Has her hat, wide-brimmed hat pulled low. As she gets closer to you, she slows down to a trot. And then sidles up and gets up close and Marshall.
Ma'am?
Looks like your town's running a little low on talent. She puts out her hand and says, skills. Bonnie Reed skills at your service.
Excuse me for being a bit out of sorts, ma'am. There's some strange happenings. How can I help you? Doc,
Well, it looks like you're in need of help here. That man's hand doesn't look might natural there.
No, you don't happen to be a doctor, do you?
No, I'm not a doctor, but I have my skills and various things. I can take a look at it if you'd like.
Doc, please, let's and ma'am, if you would, let's get to his place, and I'm sure he's got the tools there, don't you, Doc?
Well, you come on up here, Doc, and get on the horse, but don't you be squeegeeing up my saddle or anything with your nakedness there. She puts down an arm to him. Well, Marshall, I'm afraid I can't fit all three of us.
No, that's fine. I look and see if Tocho's horse is here or not.
Oh, well, Marshall, I found these. I'm not sure whose they are. And she pulls out 2 eyeballs and puts them in your hand and said, I found a set of blue eyes over there.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, I'm sure they blew that way and this way, and you found them both. Oh. Apologize. All right. The doc's office is just down this way, and I'll bring you there. After that, why don't we head into the saloon? I think I need a drink.
I think I'm going to go that way because that road ahead doesn't look too smooth there.
I guess not.
How about the man over there that's just, sir, you all right? Alvin looks up. I don't understand, Marshall.
I don't understand either. But we're not going to get it figured out standing around here, and well, I'll be damned if there's anything else going to happen. Maybe too late for that anyway, but we're going to protect the rest of the folks here.
I'm going to go plow the field flat.
Why is that?
I don't think I can bear to look at it.
I understand. Right now isn't the time. What you need to do is head to the inn. Everybody else is there.
I can't
We'll
face
get
them,
some
Marshall.
folks together.
I can't face them, Marshall. I don't know how, but somehow I feel this is partially my fault.
No, this isn't you. And nobody could have predicted what was going to happen here. And nobody that would have known. But we can't tear down this field. There ain't going to be enough food for everybody as it is. I understand that you feel like you got to do something. And I'll help you with what it is you feel you got to do, but you cannot tear down this field. There's not enough food here already.
Okay, Marshall. And he turns and starts walking back towards his house.
And you don't do nothing rash now.
Okay, Marshall.
Ma'am.
Bonnie Reed looks over and, Marshall, I think I'm going to get this man to some help. So
Please do.
if you want to stand here and negotiate with Farmer Bob, that's fine. But I'll meet up with you at the inn. I assume there's only one inn that we're talking about here in this podunk little town.
Yes, ma'am, that's a Holly Inn. We'll be right across, just about from the marshal's office.
All right. We'll see you in a few minutes. She kicks it and turns around and heads back up to go around the good road into town.
Oh, I'm gonna go with this man and sit with him a while, just to make sure.
Okay.
I don't know that I'll see him all the way through it, but we'll do what we can.
Mm-hmm. Sounds good. So as everybody's settling in, Caleb, how'd that roll go?
No successes.
Caleb, you, my friend, are intoxicated. I don't know what that's going to do to your personality and who you are.
They look like children. I tried to close my eyes when I shot one. I couldn't do it otherwise.
Caleb, those weren't children. I don't know what they were. But there's no way those were human.
They killed friends of mine. Miss Mara, you didn't grow up in this town like I did, but I knew those people.
That doesn't mean they're any less important to me than they are to you. We all lost friends today. The best thing that we can do for them is find out what in the hell is going on and do something about it.
Buddy Card's going to come over and put his hand on your shoulder and go, Caleb, I know that was tough. But if you hadn't have done it, we'd lost the doc. I wish the rest of it had been smart enough to react as fast, but well, that was the damnedest thing I ever saw. It's kind of a sick consolation, but at least we don't have to worry about Billy and Jared mourning over Tish. Come on, I'll get you some more whiskey.
It's on the house. Both of y'all.
Thank you.
I'll get Romero to get us some food or something.
Wait a minute. Where's Emilio? And he whispers this to you because Violetta's sitting at the table.
He got hurt. These spiders came out of nowhere and attacked us.
What? But he wasn't.
No.
Oh, good.
He's recovering. Hopefully soon. Maybe he knows what's going on.
This is some shit.
Telling me something.
And with that, I think we'll call it an evening. Because, yeah. All right. Players, everyone takes a beat. Take a beat for wonderful role play and, yeah, and shock and trauma and everything else. And Caleb, I was getting a little worried there for a moment. I know you're acting. I know you're good. But damn, you're convincing. I would like to ask. Sorry,
I was just saying that was great. That was good.
I would like to ask you, who would you like? Which of your fellow players would you like to give a beat to this evening?
I think Marshall Wells did really well, handling that whole crisis there.
All right, very good, Marshall.
Well, I'm gonna have to send that right back Caleb's way. I mean that the whole scene was really something.
Yep. Minnie.
Samesies, it's got to go to Caleb. That was good. Even if he has a butt.
Hey, he ain't so high and mighty now. Lady Amethyst.
Caleb.
All right.
Absolutely.
All right. Very good. So just a note to the viewers, there's supposed to be mature content warning before this. I guess I should have said something because I don't think it's in the intro anymore. Hope everybody's okay. One of the things we do at this table is our hand signal, and this is our check for is everybody okay? And the idea is we hold it up there till everybody acknowledges, and if they're not okay, then we know, and we will go to a break, see what we can do to make things okay, and then move on from there. We take that very seriously, that some things are emotional, and we don't. It's a game, and if your character's emotional, that's fine, but we don't want to hurt any people. So it's one of the checks that we do here. So I'd like to thank everybody for ending. And I'll get the mature content warning back at the beginning because I'm sorry that got skipped out of the intro. So we have some subjects that get a little tough here. So we thank you for being with us. We hope it wasn't too traumatizing. We hope you got a level of enjoyment and experience out of it. And we hope that you will return with us next week as we continue the tale with Chapter 4 and find out what happened with Emilio and find out what's going on with the trumpets and the end of the world as we know it. So, Chops, if you'd take us out, please.
Absolutely. So, usually I start this out a certain way, but I'm going to start it out a little bit different tonight. Hey, you. Yeah, I'm talking to you. You're not alone. You don't have to be alone. There are people all around you that care about you. They want to know what's happening in your life. They want to hear about what you're going through. They don't want to find out about something that has happened to you. Now, sometimes it's very difficult to talk about the problems that we have. I know for me personally, I was prideful, I was angry. I didn't want to share things with people because I didn't want to make it their burden. It was my burden, it's mine alone, and I'm going to handle it. But the honest answer is you don't decide whether or not you're a burden on somebody else. That's their choice. And they're not they're not there to judge you for the things you've been through. Not typically. What they care about is whether or not you're okay. And if you can't talk to your friends or family, there are hotlines you can call. There's people you can talk to 24/7 that do really care about what's happening with you and are going to do the best they can to get you some directions to help. And if you can't talk on the phone, there's emails that you can send, there's text numbers that you can reach as well, and they'll respond to you there just the same. Everybody, it is a very serious thing when we talk about your mental health. It is easy to find yourself lost, and for me personally, it got so bad that there were days that I woke up and I wished that I hadn't, and I was counting every day. And if you find yourself in that position, if you find yourself even just feeling out of sorts and you don't know what to do about it, please don't sit and go through that. You don't have to be alone through that. It's hard enough on your own. And when there's people around you, give them the opportunity. You'd be surprised how much they care and how much they love you. There's always a place to go. There's always someone to turn to. And no matter what happens, those people are going to do their best to take care of you. I hope that you all have a good night tonight, and I hope that everybody remembers to talk to the people that are important in your life. You never know when it's going to make a difference for them, and you never know when that opportunity might not be there anymore. So please tell the people that you love them. And that doesn't mean just your family. I love everybody at this table. These are my friends, and I love them. And I love all of you out there too. Yeah, that's right. You're watching. I love you. I care about you. And I want to make sure that you're okay. So please talk to somebody if you're reach out, because you really don't have to face it on your own.
Thank you, my friend. Good evening, everyone. And we will see you next week.